Welcome everyone to Old Roommates. Today on the show, we are revisiting Say Anything from 1989. So pull up a chair, grab some great friends, but not Joe, because Joe lies. Our episode is about to begin.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Old Roommates, the only podcast that revisits pop culture through a middle-aged lens. This is Brian.
And this is Christina.
And today we are talking about Say Anything. I cannot believe this, but I didn't write down the date it was released.
1989. I don't know the date. You want to look it up?
And I didn't look up the box office or anything.
What the hell is wrong with you, Brian? But I do have some...
You know what? We'll get to that. We begin, as we always do, by talking about Then. This is written and directed by Cameron Crowe. Christina, I know you're a little busy looking up the date.
It's okay. It was released April 14th, 1989.
All right.
Okay.
Wait, so what does that mean? 99, 09, 19, 35 years ago.
Wowza.
Oh my God. Christina, please tell us your first experience with Say Anything.
Thank you. I shall. So, Say Anything, I don't remember where I saw it. I think I must have been, I don't think it was in the movie theater. But I remember watching it and everyone loved it. Like, everyone talked about it. It was like critically applauded as like a romantic comedy. And I didn't really like it that much.
Oh, I didn't know.
Isn't that weird? I know.
What did you like about it?
All right, so certain parts of it I liked. I liked Lloyd. I thought he was a cool character. I liked him, Lloyd Dobbler. I liked Lily Taylor's character. Was it Corey. I really liked her. I think what mostly bothered me about it is Ione Skye, Diane. I don't know. I just couldn't get behind her. I just didn't really like her that much. And I also didn't like
a performance. The performance, the character?
I think the character more than the performance. But I mean, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit slow and boring, her character. And she never really felt like super emotional in any of it. I think that's what really kind of bothered me more than anything. But then also, I didn't like that whole deep, dark storyline with her dad. Like, what the fuck? Because he struck me as like the nicest guy, and he's just so cool and great and everything. And then he turns into like this evil person who steals from old people. And it just, I kind of turned it off, just not really liking it. And I'm like, I don't know. It just left me with like an uneasy feeling.
But did you like it?
I did not like it. I'm not falling into that trick. So, but how about you, Brian?
So nothing surprises me about your take, and yet it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Mm-hmm. I had not seen it in a very long time, but not only did I see this in the movie theater, probably twice. First when I saw it with my friend Connie, second time I don't remember who I saw it with, but I loved this movie. Mm-hmm. And also, this was something I would put on, I'm thinking, was I at the video? Did I ever still work in the video store then? No, 89.
In 89? 35 years ago?
Yeah, because I was there till 92. So, yes, that made sense. I think
you could put that on?
Say Anything?
But there's like a sex scene.
Well, it's like post-coital.
Well, it's true.
Here's the thing. I understand the idea of the thinking about Ione Skye and the father. The fathers, neither of it bothered me. I really liked that we didn't know Ione Skye. Mm-hmm. Like, she didn't really, I think she was in The River's Edge or something, but I didn't know her from anything else.
Which is great.
And I'm glad, because if it had been an actress that we all knew, you kind of would understand the mannerisms. Like you mentioned, like, she wasn't very emotional. Like, or is she Diane Court being emotional? Right. So it's like, you kind of have that benefit. I thought she was great. I thought she was so pretty. I thought they had great chemistry. The dad stuff didn't bother me because I feel like it needed something. I feel like it needed the tension.
Needed something, yeah.
And I felt like I went along with it. I was just like, oh, okay, because this is about trust and communication. And for Diane to kind of get this wake-up call that her dad is keeping secrets when he expects complete disclosure is such a betrayal and all that. And I think because my dad didn't do things like Jim Court, but because my own relationship with my dad is very fractured, I like that there was a movie where like, yeah, you don't have to like love and forgive your dad, and like just because he's your dad. Like, so it's like I don't know, it felt more realistic, the dad not being a nice guy thing to me. But it was one of my favorite movies, but I hadn't seen it in a very long time. I was so excited when you said we should watch Say Anything.
Well, you had mentioned it a few times in one of our,
many we've seen so many John Cusack things that it's like, this is just, great. So, but I was a little nervous about it because I'm like, I hope it holds up. And I remember Carl watched it very early on, I think when I had moved to New York, so that's like 2002. So it's like still 22 years ago, which is insane.
Oh my gosh.
But he hated it. And then Rob Cella, I was talking to, we're going to revisit this, like, oh, the worst scene in that movie. And Carl, as you're watching it, the movie ended in, well, I'm getting it confused, but it was over 20 years ago. And Carl says, the sitting in the bathtub's a bit much. And Rob said the same thing. Is like that thing in the bathroom, it didn't bug me either time.
Interesting.
So we can dive into now, if you're cool with that.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
When did you rewatch Say Anything?
I rewatched it probably about a week ago or
same.
so I've been able to like digest it a bit. And I will say I was looking forward to this revisit because I was interested in seeing it from more of an adult viewpoint after 35 years of living, and just seeing what I might have missed, right? I really felt like I missed something. I was hoping to just get another viewpoint of it because I know it's been very well loved. People talk about it all the time. So anyway, so I was happy to revisit. And I have to say, I enjoyed this movie. I feel like the biggest surprise for me was seeing Jim Court, the father, in a very different light this time around. I'm looking at her. Now, here I am. I'm a parent now of a 16-year-old. And I'm a teacher as well. So I have a lot of experience with children and adults and parents and things like that. I could not believe how much pressure this man has put on his daughter, what seems like her whole entire life. I was shocked that I did not notice that before. And I'm like, whoa, back up, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, this poor girl doesn't have any kind of social life.
Or social skills.
And I'll get to that in a minute too.
Yeah.
But I just could not believe every interaction with her was
about her future.
It was about how perfect she is, how perfect he thinks she is. Yeah, for her future. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor girl. Like, this is a terrible relationship.
My thing was, every conversation was about what she has to do. Well, we have to mail that thing out. And have you filled that out yet? Oh, well, it's like, oh my God. It's like, it's summer. It's like she just graduated.
Blew me away that he was like this, and I didn't notice it. When I first saw this movie, I thought he was a great guy, nice guy, and it threw me for a loop when they knocked on the door. From the very first conversation, I'm like, holy moly, this guy is toxic.
Yeah.
So that was my first eye-opening experience. And then all of it sort of made sense to me after opening my eyes to that and seeing her. And I saw this performance in this character so differently. She is socially awkward. She doesn't know how to interact with people. She is very cerebral in everything that she says, very thoughtful in everything that she says. And I think when I watched it beforehand, I just saw her as being this boring, slow person. What is she doing? Why is she acting that way? Why is she talking that way?
Yeah.
And now, as a person who has lived her life a little bit more fully, I recognize that this was a really good performance by her. And she is really portraying somebody that has been pretty much locked in a house studying her whole life. It was really eye-opening for me.
Well, even look at how she dressed for that party.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like, have you ever been to a keg party before?
No,
have you
she
ever
dressed up like formal.
There's a line that she's trapped in the body of a game show hostess. And it's funny because like that dress is like, that's not quite what you wear to a keg party. And but it's like, but it's just funny. And then there's that added level, and this is obviously a middle-aged lens, where her dad answers the phone. And he's controlling her messages. Like, I mean, it's not explicitly said that way.
Correct.
Because, I'm sure she can answer the phone on her own. But in those, there are scenes where he's answering the phone. Jim Court, who's calling, please? Like, oh my God. He has her future all figured out. And she doesn't even know how to interact with people at a dinner party. I mean, or people her own age. I did laugh out loud all over again with her speech when she's like, but I have some news for you.
Well,
I have seen the future. Go back. And it's dead silent except the dad.
Yes. But the best is like when she practices the car and he's like, it's funny. Yeah.
It's like,
that was really funny. Yeah. I busted out laughing too. When did you watch it?
Oh God. Like about a week ago. And it was over the course of 2 nights actually, because something had happened. I don't even remember what happened. I was like running out of time. And so I ended up like, I think I stopped it with, I think when she finds the money and the thing. But I watched it over the course of a couple days. But I also did something else, and I'll save it till the end, or maybe I won't. I don't know. I watched all of the deleted scenes.
Oh my gosh!
All of the extended scenes. I watched everything on that DVD except the featurette.
Wow! And
I have to share this because I feel like it's going to trip us up later on. The whole thing with the dad and the money. There is a beautifully brilliant deleted scene.
I hate when they do that.
He wanted to expand the nursing home. So because of that, he needs permits from the city. Because of that, he has to give them his financials. Because of that, they're like, this is a little strange.
Interesting.
He's made exactly the same money for 17 years, but yet the business looks like it's going well. And then they dig in and there's like, that person seems to be still alive. Like there's conversations where it's like, what is actually going on here? And what ends up happening is he has to go to the town council and say like, here's why it's so important. And he has this amazing speech about how important it is to care for the elderly. And it's so heartfelt. And I'm like, you know what? That's why they didn't include it. Because it's such a great speech, but he's an asshole. Like, he's a liar. But the speech is so good about caring for the elderly in nursing homes and how their families don't visit them when they're there and how he does so much for them. And then he does a little bit of that where he says, listen, I wipe their mouths. Their kids don't even see them. He's like, I wipe their mouths. He's like, I make their lives better.
And it really, I mean, he has a good point.
Like, what do they care if I'm taking their money? He's like, I'm selling their houses for them to help them stay here.
Right.
And I pocket.
And I understand, I do understand where he's coming from. Like, I would not do it. I don't condone it. But he isn't like a super villain to me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like his heart is all in the right place.
Those people all look happy.
Yeah. He is caring for these people. And that's a hard job to do.
There's a deleted scene where the IRS and the FBI are interviewing some of the people that live there. And all they say are lovely things about him.
Of course.
Like, he helped me. He helps me out of my chair every single day. And this other woman says something and like, he makes sure my water is, I don't know, something at a certain temperature. But you get the sense that like, they'd probably allow it if they even knew what was going on. Because their kids aren't even visiting them.
Right. And, and what was my other point I was going to say? No, it's okay. It's along the same thing.
But I was
and even the money, he's, and even the way he interacts with his daughter.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty messed up when you see it all at once and you see it back to back and all that. But he's not doing it to hurt her. He's doing it because he wants her to be successful. And he just doesn't get it. Like, he doesn't get that he's hurting her at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see him as like this crazy villain. I just see him as he's doing bad things, but it's all for the greater good.
Well, and the whole thing about the salary not increasing and stuff, like, you know, I mean, he's hoarding this money for her when she gets back from England. He says that. We believe him.
Of course. I don't doubt it 1 second.
It's like, it's crazy. Like, he buys her that ring. I mean, these are things like essentially for her, but it's so misguided. It's obviously illegal and awful and wrong. But it's interesting when you know that and you watch his interactions with Lloyd as well. It's like, what are your plans for the future?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think from a middle-aged lens, like, I wish Lloyd had more confidence when he spoke about kickboxing, because I think that is a career. Like, trying to become a professional athlete, that's a real goal. But it's kind of just like, but Lloyd doesn't have the confidence to speak that way.
Which is interesting because he's confident in everything else.
He has a lot of confidence. He is confident
in the decisions that he's making. He's very confident. So go on.
Yeah, that's fair. But I guess my feeling is, when you look at Jim Court's take, here's this kid saying all he wants to do is be with his daughter. I'm going to London or going to England, and I'm just going to, like, be with your daughter. It's like, what are your goals? I don't know. I'm not into the army. Kickboxing? But
I don't want to process anything. I don't want to make anything processed. I don't want to use anything that's been processed. As a parent,
sold, or processed.
As a parent, I would be very against that relationship.
Yeah.
Very against that relationship. I'm like, this guy.
Hey, imagine Emily. Met this guy over the summer. I didn't know him in high school, but we started dating over the summer, the last 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and we are going to England together. He has no job and no real career goals.
And the first day I went out with him, I got home at dawn. The second time, I stayed out overnight. Like, she's doing all of these things that she's never done before. He's clearly like in a parent's point of view, a bad influence.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't have any job respect. Like, he's not even thinking about his future.
But she does recount their dates to her father, and they're all very nice. Like, he points out glass in the street, and all that. Like, she tells him everything. And so
that wouldn't be enough for me as a parent.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm
as
not
a parent.
Yeah.
As the experienced
Here we go again.
parent.
Someone has one whole child, and suddenly they're a parent.
If Ferris came home with a girl with no future.
I don't even let him out of the house.
Oh my God, you are such a Jim Court.
It's for his own safety. Oh my God! Now we have to get in. This.
I need to look at my notes here.
This script, Cameron Crowe. The script is a feast of stuff.
Well,
okay.
Where are you going?
Are you
in the middle of the story? Because my first note is that first conversation with Lloyd and Corey and his friends. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah. It's so good.
I want to get her.
They're just such great friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get hurt.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how good she doesn't know how good looking she is.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is really funny. But I love how they're just straight with them. They're like, you're crazy. What are you doing?
The friendships in this movie are so good. I love the idea, and which is kind of morphed into what we do. We do Marco Polo. When he and Corey take cassette tapes. They give each other cassette tapes. Probably like in school. They probably pass them off to each other or mail them. God knows.
Yeah.
But it's like he records himself in all these stream of consciousness, how he's feeling, almost like his therapy. And he gives Corey the tape. And it's like, I think that is such a great, like, friendship kind of thing.
It's so interesting.
And it's so funny when he's like, I think I hang out with too many girls. But the girls, are just, like, I think the best. I mean, they're such great friends.
Such great friends.
One of them I have to shout out is, obviously Lily Taylor, but then there's Pam Adlon from Better Things.
And she's so young.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I honestly, I looked it up beforehand. I usually try to look at the cast and before I start watching just to have, like, the names correlated and stuff. If I hadn't known that was Pamela Adlon.
Well, it was I think it's Siegel back then, but it's Adlon. Adlon now.
I wouldn't have recognized her.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recognize her voice a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, yeah. Like she has a little rasp.
But she has a very small role. But I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And of course, Lily Taylor. Do you want to tell your Lily Taylor story?
I told it before. I was very fortunate enough to meet her. My friend Elizabeth, back in Brooklyn, she was her neighbor. Elizabeth invited us to an Oscar party one night. So my friend Lily might come up. And she had told me before, like, oh, Lily Taylor and her husband Nick, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, it has to be Lily. But it was kind of amazing because there were only 6 people there.
Yes.
And it was me and Carl, and then these other 2 people who were visiting from out of state. And then Elizabeth is the hostess and our friend. And Lily Taylor walks in, cute as a button. She has like the energy and spunk of like Gidget. Like she's just so adorable. And this is, I don't know, 7 years ago, I guess, 8 years ago. And she sat with the women. So there was like me and Carl and the woman on the other side of the room, and she sat with them. And almost instantly, they couldn't help themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, you worked with Timothy Hutton, didn't you? And there's kind of, and we were watching Oscars, and every time someone came out to present an award, they would ask Lily, did you ever work with him? And I'm like, oh, this poor woman. Like, because I equate it with who wants to talk about work?
Right.
No one.
Unless you're a gynecologist.
No one really wants to talk about work, especially with strangers.
Well, and she probably gets this constantly.
Yeah. And I learned from working at different jobs in New York that it's like, you don't get anywhere if you're a fan. Like, you get further if you compliment their sneakers or something. And so what was really funny is Elizabeth had told me that, oh, Lily goes to P-Town, and Carl and I love Provincetown. So it was like, oh, Elizabeth told me you really love P-Town. She's like, oh, we love P-Town. And we talked about P-Town for like ever. And she was just so normal and nice. And, you know, we have pictures from that night, and like just fun and lovely. And she did not. So she ended up getting up and walking back into the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And I think Elizabeth kind of sensed what was going on. And so she sat with us. I was very proud of myself. I didn't mention say anything. I didn't mention Mystic Pizza. I didn't mention how much I love her. I didn't mention The Conjuring. Like, I kept my shit together. We talked about P-Town.
That must be really hard.
Lovely.
Because you want to compliment her, but then
especially someone like her. Yeah, but someone like where it's like I mean, I've met celebrities before where I'm just not like a super fan, where it's much easier not to talk about that stuff.
Sure.
But then there's like someone like her, where it's like she's so a part of my teenage years.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you're like, those are the movies that you watch over and over. Mm-hmm. And you almost want to say like, thank you so much for your great performances, because they meant so much to me when I was growing up. But even that is like,
you could have said that at the end of the night, I suppose.
I didn't. I just pretended I didn't know who she was, which I think is the nicer thing to do.
Well, obviously, and that is it, though.
I'm teasing. I know. I acknowledge, you know, like, we all knew who she was.
Yes. And anyway, you're missing the most important part of the story.
Most important part of the story.
You guys share a birthday.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, we have the same birthday.
Yeah.
Me and Lily Taylor. And Brianna. And Trevor Noah. And Cindy Crawford. And Kurt Cobain. And
my current director. And my former director. And my dog.
It's a good one. February 20th. Okay, so where were we?
Anyway, I don't know. But speaking of Lily Taylor, she was probably my favorite part of the whole movie. She's fantastic in this movie. She's so damn funny, and she's so genuine, and she's so good at being sort of like that emotional wreck. Do you know what I mean?
You believe everything.
Every single thing
you believe she tried to kill herself? You don't even have to know why.
You don't.
Know she's written 67 songs, and you believe she did.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she's just so, you feel for her. Like, she's so good at being in that emotional moment that you feel it. You're like, oh my God, I totally get it.
Great face. There's she's a great face.
She's great in Mystic Pizza. She was similar.
Yeah, she has those reactions. And I would actually say Ione Skye as well, where you really believe, like Ione Skye in particular, but Lily Taylor as well, like they have this thing where they're hearing information for the first time. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to process it. Yeah. And it's nice. And it's not a big these aren't big dramatic moments at all.
No.
But it's like, but even when Lily Taylor, when Corey sees Joe in the garage.
Yep.
And that's a chopped down scene. I watched the full scene of that. And she opens the fridge and it's all diet, everything. And she's like, oh my God, why is everything diet? She's like, what if I just want sugar? Like that. And then Joe walks in. And it's just so great because she's, she does that big thing where she's like, when I see him now, it is, hi, Joe, how are you? And that is it.
Yes.
And then
she says,
Go ahead, Christina.
Hi, Joe, how are you? I love you.
which is so teenage, which is so high school. Like, people break your heart and you forgive them a day later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, you know, and he, in the extended scene, he asks to sleep with her 3 times. Like,
3 times.
Because she's like, you invade my soul. And he talks about Mimi and going back to school, and he doesn't want to be alone.
Right.
And then, yeah.
So what's interesting about that, too, is I felt, my memory of that, I thought she was obsessing over him the whole movie. And it wasn't until the end when she said goodbye to him. But she says all this, like, pretty early on.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. And this is one complaint I have. And then Lily's kind of gone. She's not really in it much at all. I actually feel like the last half of the movie, she's not in it at all.
Yeah, what was her last scene?
I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering.
Oh, she's like, prepare for greatness, Lloyd.
Yes.
I think that
scene is great too. Be a man.
Yeah, the world is full of guys, yeah. And then he has a recording and he's talking to her.
Yes. So I almost wonder, like, was she not available? Like, what happened?
Because he goes home, because she says, Constance, Joan Cusack, says, Lloyd, just come home, honey.
Yes.
I love that whole dynamic. I love it. It feels very real to me. I love his interaction with the kid when he's like, yeah. And then it's in the very beginning of the movie when she's like, I just washed the shirt, didn't I? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, not in my ear. Not in my ear. And he's like, good thing there's no red bar and you, Jay. What is it, Jamie?
Oh, forget his name. Yeah, I think it is Jamie.
It's so hilarious.
Yeah, that's great. I love the interaction. I love that whole, I like, you know, the Joan Cusack character is so good because you can tell she's just like miserable and angry and just pissed.
Yeah. T.I.M. Well, T.I.M. left her.
Yes.
But he is not T.I.M.
Correct.
She's great. I feel like everyone's great.
Yeah.
The one thing that's weird and negative is the timeline, particularly in the beginning, is strange. So she finds out, as we see her, she finds out about the fellowship to England.
Yes.
Jim gets a phone call.
Yes, and here's a criticism. Yeah. He answers the phone. Hello? A man's voice. Hello? No, this is her father. I'm like, did they think it was her? It was bizarre. It was bizarre.
I never caught that. You're right.
I noticed it right away. I'm like, what?
Yeah, and then other times, what's weird about that, Christina? Other times he answers the phone Jim Court. So it's not even consistent.
Yeah.
Like Jim Court, like he often answers the phone that way. So anyway, that's no consistency there. Then the other thing is weird. So he finds out, he's like, you got the fellowship to England. And then Lloyd Dobbler is like, I read about your fellowship to England. It's like, that happened real fast. It's the same day.
Yeah, I don't know.
I read about it in the paper. I'm like, you read the newspaper? What paper?
And how often does it come out?
Unless that means she was up for it, and that's what he meant, but it was a little unclear. Do you want to know another deleted scene? You're not going to like it.
What is it?
At the party. It's disgusting. It's really bad. So I don't remember the guy's name. He's a voice of on The Simpsons. And he plays one of the teachers. You know, all the teachers are showing up to this party.
Yes.
He shows up, and he and Diane Court are alone in a room, and he hits on her and says that he's been keeping himself under control all year. Oh,
I'm glad they deleted that scene.
When I watched it, I was like, oh, this is so gross.
Well, because that's going to turn off, if that ever happened, that's going to turn her off from being in any kind of party situation, right?
And Lloyd, and she shoots him down in a very polite way. She honestly pretends she doesn't hear it. It's kind of smart, actually. And Lloyd kind of catches the bits of it.
Yeah, because he keeps her eye
on her, and that's why she says he keeps checking up on me, which is kind of weird. But in that scene, he does check up on her.
I did always think that was a bit weird. Yeah.
Like in the Goonies with the octopus. Right. Okay, let's see. I thought it was hilarious when she looked him up in her yearbook.
Oh, yes. So fun. But so, like,
real. That's what you would do.
Yeah, but did you think it was a little bit weird that she didn't know people from our high school? Like, was it that big? I mean, maybe she didn't know his name because they're not in the same. Yeah, I guess, never mind. I'm rethinking this comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't run in the same circles. She didn't run in any circle.
Okay, good.
So no, I'm just looking at some of the words that Jim said to her. He's like, how hard is it to be in a good mood? Just decide to be in a good mood and be in it. Like, okay. They really applauded you, honey. I wrote, that Dad seems very obsessed with her success, over pushy. And then he's like, this one was very kind of disturbing. He's like, tell me that you're special. Ugh. You're the top of the pyramid. Yeah. There is no flaw. Oof. Like, what?
Yeah.
And I just wrote, oh my God, the pressure. Yeah. This poor child. Like, I just, sorry. I know we've already talked about that.
No, it's valid.
I did think that Lloyd meeting the dad was really cute. And because he was so nervous about it and he blurts everything out, he's definitely a lovable character. Yeah. Not as a parent, but you can see just he's, in a way, he's actually the opposite of Jim because he's so honest about everything, right? Yeah. So he's like spewing everything. Like he could have easily said whatever a parent needs to hear, right? He's smart enough to do something like that. But he didn't. He's just honest. He's like, yeah, well, I don't really know what I want to do. I don't have a plan. And,
Well, the dinner party broke my heart when he said, he's like, I love how you guys talk. Like he couldn't verbalize what he wanted to say.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm not like that with nobody. Anybody.
With anybody. Yeah.
About
like anything. He's like, I'm not like that about anything.
But he stumbled all over it, and I was like, oh, it's so like touching. It's very sweet.
Yes.
But my next note is about Barbra Streisand's son.
Oh yes.
What is his name?
Oh, what is his name? I forget his name.
Yeah. So, but I just thought that was really funny. I wrote 63 songs about Joe. I'm going to play every one of them tonight. Another deleted scene is another song. Bebe Neuwirth is...
Love her.
This is so funny.
I wish she was in it more.
I know.
She was in it for like one scene, right?
And it was funny. I love when they're talking and that couple's walking by them fighting. And she's like, don't even talk to me. Oh my God. Hilarious. And 2 Heathers are in this. From Heathers.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I love her. Heather, was that Chandler?
Heather Chandler and Heather, it was the main Heather. But it's like, did you really have to call your dad? Oh my God, how nightmarish.
But I really loved the scene with her and the other Heather and how she's like thanking her.
Yeah.
She's like, because of you, I worked so much harder and harder. And she's like, I never would be where I am right now if it wasn't for you. And I loved that acknowledgement.
Yeah. And she
that
said
was
you
great.
Did the
and she
same
said
for
she did
me.
the same. She's like, oh my God, I did. So I loved that.
That actress died very young.
Yes.
Brain tumor.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I know, it's so sad. When we did do Heather's. Yeah. You talked about that.
I'll tell you something else. Her name is Sheila. Mm-hmm. And it took me about 4 showings of this movie to catch on when Lloyd says to her in the car, you're talking like that girl Sheila. It took me like 4 viewings to even like, oh, that's who he means. I was like, who's Sheila?
That's interesting.
Did you catch that?
I didn't.
Because she's like, Lloyd, I love you. And she does air quotes. And he's like, wait, what do you do with your hands? You're talking like that girl Sheila. And she's like, don't be mean. This is hard for me too. Mimi is Wilson Phillips. Like China Phillips.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. Mimi, I think she says one line. She says like, I'll be in the kitchen, Joe. Joe lies when he cries. Oh my God, it's amazing. Hey, that's my house. I live there. God, it's so funny.
Oh my God, that's the other thing. Like, how did they ever find? Obviously, they were like GPS. 3 hours. 3 hours of continuous rock.
Oh my God.
They're like, well, that was 3 hours. But how did he even know like his address and stuff? Like, there's no GPS. There's none of that stuff.
He's also like, this is like my neighborhood. He doesn't know where he lives. That is so funny. And then the only weird thing, middle-aged lens, no mother effing seatbelts.
Yeah.
Ever.
Nope.
Ever. These 2. They're both bright. They're both bright people.
Well, there wasn't a big law. There was no big push on it.
Always.
So I did too because my father made me.
Yeah.
And I remember being like traumatized by it because it was so embarrassing to have to wear my seatbelt all the time.
I always wore mine.
But then if I was in the car with friends, I never put it on. It was just not something that people did.
I remember being younger and like a teenager in my early 20s, whatever, and like buckling up. And I had a couple friends that were like, oh, so you'd rather be strapped in the car when it's bursting into flames.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, give me a
Let me tell you something. It's so funny that you're saying this. So Emily is in the process of studying to get her permit.
Okay.
So we've been taking some practice tests and they're multiple choice.
Yeah.
And one of the questions are so dumb. They really are. Like, oh my God. I'm like, Emily, you're going to be fine. Just choose the safest answer.
Option,
that's it.
Right.
That's all it is. Just choose the safest one. But there was a seatbelt question. You get the 4 choices. 2 of them were absolutely ridiculous. And then one of them was, when you wear a seatbelt, we'll trap you in the car in the event of a crash. And then the other one was basically like
keeps you safe,
required at all times,
okay,
or something like that.
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she's like, "Is it this one?" And she asked about the trap you in the car. I think it is a common misconception that it will trap you. And I'm like, Emily, no, it's required at all times. Yeah. And she's like, but doesn't it trap you? I'm like, no, you press the button.
Also, by the way, if you
press the button.
Here's the thing. Also, if you're in a situation where you're in a crash without your seatbelt, guess what? You don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about a damn thing.
Yeah, don't.
But isn't that so funny?
But you don't. We
literally just had that question yesterday.
That was I had a few friends who would say, "Oh, so you'd rather be trapped in the car when it's bursting into flames?" I'm like,
oh my
how
God.
are you? What are you driving?
Yeah.
So how are you driving?
Should I not be in this car
planning
now?
on bursting into flames?
These are my choices.
So my next note is just a basic note about chemistry. For me, holy God, do Ione Skye and John Cusack have chemistry. I just love watching them together. I think
they were very cute together. I agree. They were very cute. I do think they had chemistry, but I do feel like some of those moments are just so awkward. And I think it's mostly because she's just socially awkward.
Yeah.
I think that's really more of like that feeling that I got when watching them. But yeah, I agree that they really work well off each other.
Yeah. I think they're just so cute together, to the point where it didn't bother me so much. They didn't have any like real conversations, I've noticed this time around, not way back when. Usually the montages would annoy me, but this time around, like, they're so cute together and they're so sweet and nice with each other that it didn't faze me as much. Like, they have a couple conversations, like Lloyd talks about his awkwardness with old people.
Yes, I really liked that conversation.
They have a couple conversations about music and like things like that. But they could have had a few more like just generic conversations that I would have been happy with.
Well, I liked the conversations they had about their relationship, like what's going on.
Yeah.
And it was, who said it? It's friends with potential. I think Lloyd might have said, oh no, I think they were like, well, we'll be friends. We'll be friends. And he's like, yeah, friends with potential.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I love that. That's really cute. And she even liked that.
Yeah. I will never understand as basic as you. I think that's such an insult. I have never found the compliment in that.
Oh, that's
I think it just means, I mean, I think I know what she means. I mean, like no pressure or like no pressure or like having to be a certain way with him. But wow, did she say it wrong? Talk about being awkward.
Yeah, I don't think she meant it as an insult, but it is not a compliment. And that's, again, I will chalk all of these things up to her not having that social etiquette. So I did have a note about Jim having a point about something where he has a conversation with her about Lloyd, and he's like, what do you have in common? You owe it to yourself to get on that airplane with no attachments and no strings. And I completely agree with him on that. They don't have anything in common, and that is something that would hold her back.
Yeah.
If she was in this relationship.
A new relationship.
She's going to Europe.
They're going to be living together.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's how is she going to focus on college if she's in this brand new relationship? Yeah. And I would also worry that, again, I think there was way too much pressure on her to succeed and all of that stuff. But there's a lot of value in having appropriate study habits and focusing on studying and things like that. There's a lot of value in that, especially when you're going into college. So I would also worry as a parent that if she's with this guy who makes her feel all warm and fuzzy and makes her feel good and all that, great, all these positive things, but has no direction whatsoever, how is that not going to leak into her?
I know.
I know.
Yeah, because his thing is like, he would probably say quit, right? If she's like, oh God, it's so challenging. You're like, quit. We'll be fine.
Well, what do you want to do?
Yeah, we'll be fine. Quit. Let's open a kickboxing gym
Let's
together.
live on the beach.
But I think they absolutely need each other. Like you feel that. I feel like and I feel like with this whole thing about getting on the plane with no strings attached or whatever and all that, with the dad's storyline having the volume turned up on that, she really has no one.
Correct.
I mean, she has no one. And
we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll talk about that.
But the other thing is, I would worry a little bit because she didn't have that experience of dating either, and she would make decisions more emotionally.
Did you not think that that she had sex before? She seems much more together than Lloyd does after they have sex. She's like, you're shaking. What's wrong?
Yeah, it was a weird situation. I didn't give it a whole lot of thought, but I don't imagine she's ever had sex. Why would she have sex with somebody? She's too smart, because it seems as though she has not been in a relationship. The father mentions at some point, he's not the same as these other guys that you don't like. Right.
But remember, he's writing down notes, messages for her, and there's other guys. Oh, he's like, the guy with the Camaro? No, sir. The guy with the blankety blank? No, sir.
But do you think she's having sex with these people?
Well, no, but I guess my feeling was their body language after they have sex in the car. She seems much more.
She seems more,
control.
Yes. It's not like
this does not seem like someone who just lost their virginity. He is acting like he just lost his virginity.
Yes, I agree with you. I don't think she's acting like she lost her virginity, like she just lost her virginity, but I also don't imagine she's had sex before. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I feel like she's acting like she has, but it's like, who? With who? With whom?
Yeah. I don't know. She's saying things to her dad like, I felt it was going to get physical. I mean, I don't know. I feel like she's had sex before. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it on Instagram as a poll question.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing with you either.
Oh, okay.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I just don't know who she would have had sex with.
Well, he does rattle off some names. And then she says, I've never been out with someone as basic as you. I just feel like it's like she's dated.
Right. I think that she's dated.
She's probably dating college guys.
She probably is, but I don't know that she.
I don't know how that would happen,
sex.
though.
Like she's too.
How is she meeting guys?
How is she going to meet people? And also, she's too cerebral to just have sex with somebody without having any kind of feelings. It just seems like she's not someone that's just going to have like a one night stand. She's going to have something meaningful attached to it, and it seems like she hasn't had anybody that she felt strongly about. Just in my observations
Diane
of her.
Court, had you had sex before?
But you're right. She does not act like someone that has not had sex.
Big middle-aged lens. We're going to the dinner party that you have notes on.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a lot of notes.
Oh, okay. So this is my biggest middle-aged lens notes. Is I remember being young, watching the scene and thinking everyone was so snobby and mean. But this time around, I'm like, oh no, they're just curious about him.
Yeah.
Did you feel that as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I was like,
very similar.
They actually seems really engaged with him.
I was a little bit wincy
because he couldn't quite formulate.
And just the stuff that he's talking about, I'm like, ugh, I don't know, trying to make a good impression.
I know he's being honest, but it's also like, really. But what's so interesting is later on, there's a couple of scenes with her dad where she's a little mumbly and she's a little wayward. And I'm like, oh shit, Lloyd is totally rubbing off on her.
See?
And that's a middle-aged lens.
It happens.
Yeah,
it happens.
Their lives are ruined.
Yes. They don't stand a chance in hell.
And my next thing is, oh my God, the IRS shows up at the dinner party. I'm like, this happened that hast? I totally forgot.
It happened so
fast. In my mind, I'm like, oh, that happens like three
quarters of the way. I 1000% agree.
I don't know.
They
like on their
basically their first real date, right? This is like their first real date.
The first time he meets her dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The timing on this was completely screwy in my mind. I thought it was 3/4 of the way down. I thought it was a quick thing. And oh my God, yeah. So crazy.
So then she talks to her lovely mother.
Weird, right?
Ooh.
Oh, but she made the right choice.
What a witch, though.
Yeah.
Honey, here's Ray. Just talk to him because when you don't, your mouth points down. Jesus Christ.
She's not.
Right choice. I know what you mean. She picked her dad.
She picked her dad.
Diane's hilarious, though. She's like, talk about saying the wrong thing. I feel so bad being with you.
Yep. Again. Yep. Yeah. So funny. And then they're talking about, then she decides to break up with them. Are you at that point yet?
Well, I'm with the card, and Lloyd showing the card to Corey and DC. And
yeah. Oh, and that was
Corey
a great
says,
scene.
have you ever got a card like this? A note like this in your entire life? And DC says, I dreamed about it. And then
I love that whole scene.
DC's great. And I want to say her last name is Brooks. I don't know if she's related to James L. Brooks, but she's also in Broadcast News very briefly.
Oh, yes.
I love her. But she's like, you never let me talk. And she's like, I'm sorry, talk. She's like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Which is such a friend's, like, that is such a friend
totally.
thing to do. It's like, you never let me talk. And then you turn to the person like, I forgot what I was going to say.
Like, oops.
And then she's like, I remember. Let him do what he wants.
Yes. And they're just so, I love just they're all those
great
things together. They're so cute together.
Yep.
All of them. And they're honest, but they're supportive. And I like how they just change their minds throughout it. Like, it's a real conversation. We're not stuck on no. It's like, yeah, well, you're right. You have a good point.
Yep.
He should do it. And then they're like, yeah, I would totally fall for him. And don't be a guy, be a man.
Yep.
And all of those things are just so great. I love that.
So now I am at the breakup.
Yeah. So she decides that she's going to break up on advisement of her dad.
Mm-hmm.
And the pen thing was just funny.
I wrote I will never. Yeah.
I would never give him a pen.
Even more so now, I find that to be forever fucked up. Like, when I was a kid, it made no sense. As a grown-up, it makes even less sense.
Right.
He grabs a pen out of, like, the junk drawer. He's like, give him a pen. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah. See, he's just as socially awkward.
Yeah, he's awkward.
But I love the conversation that they have in the car where she's trying to break up with him, but she doesn't really know how. And he's like, wait, what is happening?
I wrote that, wait, what did we just decide?
What is what is going on? And they're like, well, we could be friends. And he's like, if we're friends, why can't we still see each other?
Yeah, why can't I call you? Yeah.
Then he kind of realizes it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so heartbreaking.
It's very heartbreaking. And when she says, don't be mean, this is hard for me too. And he says, then don't do it.
Then don't do it.
Oh, that broke my heart. I just got chills saying it out loud.
I just got chills
too. Then don't do it. And it's like, yeah, why? Yeah, don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Why are you doing this? Like, you really do need him in your life. You're so good together. Like, you're cute. I mean, whether or not they have a future, but right now she needs this. And she likes him so much. It's like, and the father's just fucking everything up.
Yep.
But yeah, the breakup argument is A+, and the talking over. That's one of my favorite things through my middle-aged lens is when people are arguing or fighting or even whatever in movies, and they talk over each other.
I totally get it. I get it. I love when they talk over each other.
It's just so.
I love it when they talk over each other. It's so fun. It's
and I
so
do
real.
think Ione Skye is a great crier when she goes into her car.
Yes.
The car that Lloyd taught her how to drive.
Oh my God.
And
why is her father buying her a car she can't drive, by the way?
That's fucked up.
So stupid.
Buys her a ring, buys her a car with the old people's money. And that's going to cross her mind. She's in the car that her dad bought for her with other people's money.
Yes. Pen. So after the breakup, you talked about talking into the tape recorder and all that, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
I will tell you that whole scene of him doing that, it gave me so many Better Off Dead Lane Meyer vibes.
Really?
Yes. Something about being in the car. In Better Off Dead, he breaks up with the girlfriend, and of course that's why he wants to like kill himself and all that kind of stuff. And just driving around aimlessly, and remember like the songs come on the radio. Like something about that scene and him talking in, it almost like the almost like a narration sort of thing happening, but it was actually him talking into the tape recorder. It reminded me so much of Lane Meyer. It was really, really funny.
Interesting. I never got the Lane thing in this. I got the
just
say
this
anything.
One time.
I got the say anything thing in Better Off Dead, but not the other way around. It's weird.
That is funny.
It's very weird.
They're very similar characters, actually.
They are. So another middle-aged lens, can it be deduced that they're having sex? Like, who cares if Corey and DC knows? Who cares if her dad knows?
Yeah.
I mean, he did say, you told your dad, which I think is the right reaction for someone that age.
Mm-hmm.
But for your friends to know they're together every single day, of course they're probably having sex.
Right. They're in high school.
They're not even in high school anymore.
Right. They just graduated.
And he's 19, by the way. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh.
Yeah. He deferred. Didn't he defer? Because
his
he had
father's
parents travel for the army.
Yeah.
I did write the Lloyd tour is very funny. To my left, the place where she broke up with me.
That's the part.
Yeah.
That's the part that made me feel like Lane Meyer.
He was like, the mall. I should have known our relationship was doomed.
Yeah, all of that reminded me of Lane. It's funny. I did think it was weird that he's asking Joe for advice.
Well, he's asking guys.
I know, but Joe's there, and I love that whole line. Like, if you guys are so good at getting girls and stuff, why are you all here alone together without girls? Like,
by choice, man.
By choice.
By choice, man. Yeah, by choice. How about when he's like, when one of the guys is like, what you need to do is find a girl that looks just like her, nail her, and then dump her, man.
Good advice.
And then he throws, and Lloyd throws, the can or the bottle, and Joe says, dude, I don't even feel that way about my car. Which tells you all you need to know about Joe.
All you need to know.
Yeah. The rain in my car.
Corey was so right about him.
The rain in my car is a baptism. The new Lloyd. Oh my God. So there's a deleted scene. He drives to like Portland, Oregon, and then back to Seattle. Yeah, like just to like blow steam. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's funny. I have the boombox scene as my next note.
What do you think? Does it hold up?
I didn't love it before, and I don't really love it now.
Why didn't you love it either? Why didn't you love it before?
I just didn't really feel like it was all that. It didn't amount to anything, I think is my biggest...
You didn't feel like it was like serenading her, like Romeo and Juliet? Or
no,
like
I did. I got what he was doing.
Oh.
But it didn't do anything.
It's like the song you made love to.
I know.
How does it not mean anything to you, Christina?
It didn't change anything for her or for him. As far as he knows, like she was awake listening to it, but she didn't do anything about it. And he's just standing there and didn't get any reaction at all.
You know what it changed for me?
What? The song?
The geography of the house.
Oh.
Did you notice the house? He's like, oh, I live in a palace, right? Like the whole thing with the IRS, right? Remember, he's like, oh, I live in a palace.
Right.
But they somehow have like a roundabout driveway. So where is he parking his car? Because there's picnic tables behind him. And is he just cranking the volume up so loud from a park? Like, I know they walk, but then like it's also weird too because they have this nice house, but it's next to a 7-Eleven. Now, I don't know enough about Seattle to be like, oh, that tracks. But it seems like, this is why the geography is confusing for me. It seems like Diane Court's house, they have a completely round driveway.
Yeah.
Where they practice the car driving.
Right.
It seems like there's pillars or some sort of columns in front of the entrance.
Right.
But Jim Court swears he doesn't live in a palace. And then the backyard is seemingly attached to a giant city park where Lloyd can blast music. And it's next door to a 7-Eleven because they have to walk by there to get to her house. I'm like,
there's a lot going on there.
I'm having a hard time picturing this on Google Maps.
Yeah.
It's a weird house.
That is a weird house.
Weird location.
And you're right. It's a big house.
When he's playing that boombox, he's in a playground. I mean, it's really bizarre. But it's picnic tables, the deleted scenes. They filmed like 7 versions of the boombox thing.
Really?
At one point, he had it resting on the car. Another point, he like was just kind of holding it. Another point, it was a different song.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was like a rock song. It was like one of his favorite bands. Like John Cusack really wanted like one of his favorite bands to be playing. John Cusack didn't like this scene at all.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to make Lloyd so pathetic. He's like, I feel like this is making Lloyd Dobbler pathetic, and I don't think he would do that. Now, through my middle-age lens and through some of my research, that scene is looked at differently as a very big negative. Any thoughts as to why, Christina? Why would that scene maybe have a negative spin in today's day and age?
Well, why wouldn't the father wake up, first of all?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
That's one reason. I don't know. Tell me why.
Stalking.
Oh, stalking, yeah.
He's hanging outside her house, playing music in the hopes of her coming out to force her to talk to him.
He's called her a bunch of times.
Calling her.
That's true.
Going hang outside her own home with a boombox blasting the song they had sex to. You can flip it in a different way. And in today's day and age, it would be considered possibly a little stalkery.
Excellent point, Brian.
No, it's not my point at all. I don't feel that way. I'm just saying.
I thought you said through a middle-aged lens. I thought you said
I said through my research. Like through modern. I said, like,
so do you not feel that way?
I don't think this is stalking.
You don't feel like it's a stalky thing?
I didn't get stalking vibes. When I read it, I was like, I can see that, but he's not a stalker. I don't think calling someone like it's not like they didn't have a relationship, and she did say we should stay in touch. They broke up, but like, I mean, I don't think they don't hate each other. And he was just like, he was missing her and playing a song at a distance. I mean, it was clearly at a distance. It wasn't like he was underneath her window.
Right.
And maybe that's why they changed the location. I don't know why they changed it. Yeah. Because, the other thing was, the other scenes were right next to her house. And they changed the location. They never said why. I digress. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast.
No, it's fine. You're good.
The most heartbreaking scene in this movie, for me, has nothing to do with Lloyd and nothing to do with Diane. Do you know the scene I'm talking about?
Let me think about it.
This scene broke my heart then, and it destroyed my heart now.
Tell me.
The luggage saleswoman. That upset me so much when he was like, I tell you, you have the best smile I've seen all day. And she's like, thank you. I like yours too. Beep bump. I'm sorry. Your card didn't go through.
That was very sad.
Oh, let me try it again. Beep bump. And like then the guy's looking at him. And I'm like, I don't want to say this
humiliating.
I don't want to say this poor man, but holy shit. Because he has to think about his future as well. He's probably, this guy, talk about not dating anyone. He's probably hasn't had a date in 5 years since he left his
Well, we don't know
mother.
what he's doing with those senior citizens.
Or all that money. He's buying hookers. But this woman is they're so cute together.
A little flirty.
And she's like, I'm supposed to confiscate your card, but why don't you just go ahead and take it? And he's like, no, keep it. Bye. You've been very kind. Thank you. And he runs and cries in the bathroom.
That is very sad.
Good Lord, that scene with him and the saleswoman is...
It was so necessary, too. They didn't have to put that in there, but it was really necessary.
It was necessary. You hear bits, and it's so funny how cold this storyline is, because when they're talking like, 125,000. Oh, I can't do that. He's been ripping off grandma for years. How about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Okay. And so they end up, we can backtrack a little bit, 9 months in prison, $125,000 fine.
Yeah.
And they are seizing his house and all of his assets. Holy Mary, Mother of God.
That's a lot.
He's going to get out of jail with nothing.
Yeah. Good thing she did get the fellowship.
God. And he's not going to have a house.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, and when he's talking to Lloyd, he's like, I'm incarcerated, Lloyd. It's like, you're more than that, buddy. Like, you're fucked.
Right.
Like, you're going to get out of this jail for this white collar crime. And is he even going to have his business anymore? Like, it was a little weird.
I don't think he'll have the business.
What happens to all those old people?
Ugh.
Oh my God. Terrible.
Oh,
so the bathtub scene, it bothers so many people. Did it bother you?
It bothered me too. I'm like, I can't see him doing that. It was ridiculous.
I think through my middle-aged lens, just sit on the floor. If you're going to sit on the floor, just why not close your bedroom door? I mean, the bathtub, sitting in the bathtub
and
is
he's fully
odd.
clothed.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit on the toilet. If you're going to be in the bathroom, just sit on the floor.
That's what I said. The first thing I said, just sit on the floor. Sit in your bedroom, close the door. If anything, someone's going to need the bathroom. No one's going to need to go into your bedroom.
Right.
Certainly not the luggage lady.
Nope.
There's an excellent scene with Diane and the IRS/FBI.
Oh, yes. That's great. That's a good scene.
And I really like when the guy just levels with her.
He's just like, he's guilty. We have the proof.
We have everything. Really, really, really rough.
Yes. That was a really good scene. And I was glad that she was so honest. I love that she went down there. She just seems like that type of person that is just going to get to the bottom of it. She's like, I just need to take control.
Oh, but when she ever said, Dad, swear to God. And he says, I swear to God. And she goes, I found the money. Why did I honestly feel a little bad for him?
I felt so bad for him.
Oh, my God.
I felt so bad for him.
No, he did so many wrong things, and I still felt like, oh my God, everything he did for her. And then he says that. It did all for you, and which is also, thanks anyway. I don't want this shit.
Well, and I love the scene, except I was so mad that he's screaming and screaming and screaming. I took care of these women, but people screaming. And he's in the nursing home. He's a swinging door away because she leaves, and you see that people are having their dinner.
Yeah, and the receptionist is right there.
What the hell?
The receptionist is right there. She's not getting any of that money. So she's like, what is Diane talking about? She found what money?
Oh, he basically screamed everything he did.
She screams, you stole from them. She's at the top of her lungs.
I didn't like that at all.
Oof.
At all.
And he said, fine. When I'm old, give me someone like me, but fine. I'm like, oh shit.
I mean, he's not.
How about that one? But no, but what I hated was when he said, "I'm the only father you got."
Oh yeah, he was nasty. That was
nasty.
He got nasty during that.
And then I feel like you have a lot to say because you referenced it earlier. Because I have something to say as well through a middle-aged lens. Are you here because you need someone, or are you here because you need me? You have some issues, Christina.
Do not like this turn. I did not like it then. I don't like it now. She is pushing him away, yeah. And now that she has no one, now she comes running back. That's bullshit. I don't even know that she says sorry. I wanted to rewind to double check, but she just shows up, and he's, of course, takes her right back, and he says it doesn't matter. But, like, what the fuck, girl? At least explain yourself or something. Say, oh, my father wanted me to break up with you, or I never wanted to do whatever. Do something. But boy, I did not like that at all. Not at all. Not even a little bit. What about you, Brian?
So, I'm really honest. I think because Lloyd went into guy mode with, wait, are you here because you need someone because you need me? And then he says, forget it, I don't care. I don't completely disagree that it's like, wow, this is a little convenient. Her life is over. She runs to Lloyd. But I also think it's very true to Lloyd's character. Mm-hmm. And so much about this movie is like about character and the image you give off and who you are deep down. And I think Lloyd's image is like her image is like this ice princess at school, but that's not really who she is. Lloyd's trying to be this dude, this guy, like, yeah, girl, but deep down it's like, he just loves her.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. I get why he took her back, and that's fine. Yeah. I just thought it was really, really shitty for her to do that.
He at least calls her out on it.
Yes.
And then backtracks and says, I don't even care if it's true. I don't even care if it's
Which I forgot that he called it out.
Yeah. And he does say, he's like, and I don't care. And like, but at least he said it. And that's the only wonky line reading for me from Ione Skye is when she says, because I need you. But it's like, I don't know. So I just don't like the line reading of it. Yeah. But I thought, this is true to their characters. And you know what? These people are teenagers. They're going to make some poor decisions in their life. This will probably not be the last of them. One laugh out loud moment, and it's not intentional. The dad is in prison. We know he's in there for 9 months, but at that point, remember, they've not left for England yet. We know when they meet, she has 16 weeks or 14 weeks. 14 weeks. So he can't possibly be in there for more than a month. He must have gotten a real fast sentencing date.
Well, they did say he wants to start immediately.
Oh, serving. You're right. Yeah. You're right. So he looks at the letter and he's like, she can't still be angry about this.
It's been 10 minutes.
I wrote, dude, it's been like a month.
And you haven't talked to each other since.
And you fucking lied to her for about 10 years. Actually, longer. He's been ripping off, what did they say? He's been ripping off grandma and grandpa for how many years did they say?
I want to say 20 something. Is that what he said?
So, for decades. Then so speaking of character and things that don't feel right, I kind of call bullshit on Diane Court giving him a pen saying, write me. I think it's a little too cold-blooded. I don't think she would do that to her father.
I don't think so either. I thought they wrote it in because it was,
a good
obviously.
Movie line.
Well, and it's like, oh, well, he told her to give Lloyd a pen.
Yeah.
So now she's going to give him the pen. And I questioned whether she would be able to even see him with a pen in her pocket. It's prison. How is she?
Oh my God! Right? Yeah, you can just go in there and give prisoners a pen.
Yeah, I don't.
That's like you can escape.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Or what do you call it? Shimmy? Not a shimmy.
Yeah, shim.
A shim? What's it called?
Shiv. A shiv.
A shiv.
Shiv. Oh my God.
A shank. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah. So I called bullshit on that. Also, she should have just said, "You can write me if you want." She was really warm about it too. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed a little bit, not that she forgave him right away.
No, right.
But it seemed a little bit too forgiving.
Well, you do feel like she hasn't visited him.
No, she hasn't visited him.
Right. So it's like,
this is the first interaction she's had with him in over a month or whatever timing it is.
I think seeing someone face to face is different. I think it's like, she knows she's leaving. God knows the next time she's going to see him.
Well, and she wrote the letter.
Yeah.
So a lot of that...
She wrote multiple versions, we found out.
Yeah, so a lot of it has come out of her onto the paper. Yep. So a lot has been said, although not voice to voice. So maybe it is a little bit resolved.
God in heaven.
But yeah, it's
a rough situation.
It is.
And then my last note is I think that ending is amazing.
I really love it.
I love how it just dings and we're right there with them. It just dings and it ends.
You're waiting. And I love you waiting just a little too long, a little too long. You're getting anxious a little bit. You're feeling like how they're feeling.
Yeah.
I really love that.
The hat will always be kind of a weird choice for me. She wears that weird hat.
Oh, yeah. But again,
it was weird back then too.
Yeah.
She is awkward. Yeah. Okay, deleted scenes. I talked about Mr. Deegan is his name. He hits on Diane at the party. Ick. Jim Court explained to the city council why he wants to expand his property. It's a great scene. It goes on a long time, though. It's a long scene.
Yeah.
But he makes so many good points about caring for the elderly, but it's unfortunate because he's also the villain. But it does explain why the IRS digs into his finances. Mm-hmm. That's what starts the whole thing.
But it's interesting because in the movie, they do say, we've been looking into this for 5 years. When she's having the conversation with somebody, they said, we've been looking at this for 5 years.
Interesting, because 5 years is when he divorced the mother.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Other deleted scenes, they have Lloyd chewing gum. And they'd reshot scenes with him not chewing gum. But they never said, we did this because he was chewing gum too much. But I'm like, oh, thank God. He's like chewing gum. It's like not great. There's a great extended scene between Joe and Corey. This is in the garage. He asks her for sex more than once, but he made her a tape. A mixed tape.
Oh, fun.
And she's like, this is actually kind of amazing. She's all super touched. And she's like, you made this for me? He's like, yeah, while I was on shrooms. And he's such an amazing character. And there's a great expanded scene with Mike. That's his name, Mike, at the party. And he's talking about his hair. He's like, oh my God. He's sobering up in the car. And he goes, look at my hair. I told the guy I wanted to look like Simply Red.
Kind of does.
And those are all my notes.
So the
Christina,
big question.
More or less about the same. I mean, I have to say about the same, but that's high praise because it's one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
And with the deleted, so it's deleted scenes add to it. A couple things take away from it. But Ione Skye's performance is even better. And I think the casting of her is so good because we don't know her. Mm-hmm. And if we had known her, for example, a bit of my trivia, Jennifer Connelly was considered for this. And I think that it wouldn't have been as good. Because we know Jennifer Connelly.
And I think Ione Skye is pretty, but I think Jennifer Connelly would have been too pretty.
Well, it also matches the game show hostess body. Because, but and the beauty. But Ione Skye is really pretty. But I think she looks better with that.
Yes.
But get this, Lloyd Dobbler, Robert Downey Jr.
Interesting. Actually, I think that would have worked.
I think he would have been too handsome. That's my note with that.
So back then, I don't know if he was that. Like, he had a little bit of awkwardness to him. He was always like the buddy, the friend for the first few movies.
But those were the original thoughts were Robert Downey Jr. and Jennifer Connelly. So what about you, Christina? More or less about the same.
It's a big more for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a big more of just looking at it from different points of view and just really delving into that relationship with her father. Wasn't as peachy keen as I originally thought, and just understanding like that awkwardness with her like really made a big difference.
And how did you watch it? Hulu
DVD.
Or DVD? So I had the DVD from the library for the special edition. It's silver.
Mine is not the special edition.
Try and grab that because those deleted scenes are good. They're really good. So I have a match game.
I also have a match game.
So we'll start with yours.
So not only does Joe lie, but he's also very dumb.
Oh, no.
When he tried using Lloyd's radio technique to get Corey back, he failed miserably when he played blank.
Ding! Oh, my God.
I didn't even write this down yet. I didn't even write this down yet.
Oh, shit. Actually, I'm changing it.
Let me think.
I have two amazing answers.
Okay. Ding.
Ding.
All right. Not only does Joe lie, but he's also dumb. When he tried using Lloyd's radio technique to get Corey back, He failed miserably when he played...
All right, so I had Do Me Baby by Belle Biv DeVoe,
okay.
But I changed it to George Michael, I Want Your Sex.
Oh my God, that's so good. I went a little bit different because he's so dumb.
Oh.
He wouldn't have played something that was... Oh. So I said he played Man-Eater. So he would play something super insulting.
Oh my God. Or I was just thinking more sex songs, or what is the song? 9 Inch Nails, I Want to Fuck You Like an Animal.
Oh my God. Actually, I love that song.
All right, I have a match game.
Okay, let's hear it then.
Diane Court is such an amazing student.
How amazing is she?
She even got an A in blank. Oh.
Ding.
Ding. Diane Court is such an amazing student. She even got an A in...
Study hall.
Damn it! I had study hall and I changed it to lunch.
Whoa! Lunch is good too.
Lunch is good.
Or
damn
recess.
it! I have study hall right here.
Those.
And I circled lunch.
You always go with your first instinct.
I should have.
Oh, wow.
Damn it all. Oh,
damn it all.
Well, that was Say Anything. And that's it for us and for this episode of Old Roommates.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to follow us on Instagram or YouTube, where we have our episodes as well as a little extra.
And if you have any questions about our show, any suggestions for movies we could revisit, reach out to us at oldroommatespod@gmail.com.
Thanks again for listening.
This is Brian.
And this is Christina. Until next time.